If you want to get to 10% body fat as fast as possible, regardless of whether you're starting at 20%, 30%, or even higher, in this video, I'll walk you through the exact step-by-step strategy I use to get myself and my clients lean in the shortest time frame. No extreme diets, no endless cardio, and no giving up everything that's good in life. I've personally gone through this process multiple times, and I can say confidently that this is a method that gets results. Before you even touch a dumbbell, track a calorie, or set a steps goal, you need to know your starting point. Here's how you do it. Step 1, take your initial body weight. You always want to do this first thing in the morning before you've had anything to eat or drink to ensure the measurement is consistent. Step 2, take your progress pictures. You want to have good lighting, a front, back and side shot wearing just underwear or a pair of shorts. And finally, step 3, get a rough estimate of your body fat percentage. You can use electronic scales to do this, and what I would say is, even if we know that it might not be super accurate, if you always use the same scales throughout your transformation, it will at least be consistent. The next thing we're going to do is set realistic targets for your progress. I like my clients to aim for a loss of somewhere in the region of 0.5 to 1 kilograms each week, with the top end of that being slightly more aggressive but achievable with the right plan. That would mean that if you're 90 kilograms and 25% body fat, to lose 15 kg, which could take you close to 10% fat, this would take you somewhere between 3 and 6 months. Now you know your starting point and timelines, I'm going to take you through the 3 pillars you need to have in check to go through a successful transformation, which are nutrition, training, and accountability. I'll show you exactly how to work out your macro targets, one of the key diet mistakes people make, the best training plan to get results, and how you can actually stick with this plan rather than losing motivation after a couple of weeks. Our next focus will be on nutrition. Whilst you might think that starving yourself and eating as little as possible is the quickest route to 10% body fat, this could not be further from the truth. Instead, you need to have a structured plan with appropriate macro targets that is simple and easy to stick with. The first thing to do is to figure out your calorie deficit. Before we continue, drop a comment below and let me know what is the biggest challenge that you face with your diet stopping you from getting lean. With our goal of losing fat, this will not happen unless we are consuming less calories than the number that we're exhuming each day. So it's really key to get this right. To work out our calorie target, I want you to take your body weight in pounds and times this by 10.5. And this will give you the number that should put you within a deficit. Once you've got that number, you're then going to times it by 0.35, and this will give us the number of calories that we will allocate to protein every day. As 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, you'll need to divide that number again by 4 to give you your daily protein target. With your remaining calories, my recommendation would be that you split these between carbs and fats, but work more on a personal preference as opposed to specific macro targets. As long as you're in a calorie deficit, you will be losing fat, and in my experience, for most people, trying to get to a super specific daily target with carbs and fats can quickly become overwhelming and too much to stick to. On the flip side, having a protein target and a calorie goal is much easier and gives you a lot of flexibility with your meal choices while still ensuring that you're moving forward consistently every week. With your meal choices, I'd really recommend you do your best to keep it simple. In most cases, if you just look at the meals that you're consuming right now, that you know that you like and they fit into your schedule, and look at how you can make adaptations to them, for example, with portion sizes and adding protein. This will be far easier to stick with over the coming weeks and months than if you try and completely overhaul your entire diet in an attempt to see progress faster. Yes, there are some diet choices you could make that would speed up the process, but the important thing to note is that successful fat loss transformations come down to consistency, and if you can't actually stick with your diet for long enough, it's not going to deliver results. Moving on to training, we are going to look to implement a 4-day upper-lower workout split. An example of this would look like training upper body on a Monday and Thursday and lower body on a Tuesday and Friday. The important thing with this split is ensuring that you have a full 48 hours rest before you're working upper or lower again, to ensure that you're fully recovered and ready to go again next session. For each exercise that you'll do your warm-up sets, and this will be followed by just 2 working sets per exercise. Set 1 will be between 6 and 10 reps, and set 2 will be between 12 and 15 reps. The idea is that you take both sets to absolute failure and you pick a weight that would put you towards the bottom end of the rep range, and as you get stronger and you either hit or exceed this range, in this example 10 or 15 reps, that's your cue to then increase the weight, and you continuously repeat this process over time, or in other words, progressive overload. With respect to exercise selection and order, I'm very aware that the level of equipment that you have access to can vary greatly. So I've created a free guide showing you how to structure the workouts and exercises, and giving you a list of my favorite movements alongside video demos, so you can pick from the kit that you've got access to in your own gym. This is completely free and you can download the guide using the link in the description now. On top of your weights training, we are also going to include 4 30-minute low-intensity cardio sessions. The purpose of these is to increase your calorie expenditure across the week and push you further into a deficit without stimulating a high amount of fatigue. My recommendation, if possible, would be to do these sessions on a Stairmaster, or alternatively you can do a high incline power walk on a treadmill. You should get a good sweat on from these sessions, but you should also be at a stage where you could still maintain a conversation throughout. The final point to cover is consistency. Over the next couple of minutes, I'm going to share with you one of the methods that has been an absolute game changer for both myself and my clients that had previously struggled to stick with a fat loss plan. The first thing that I would say is that you should not be aiming for perfection over the coming weeks and months. I just recently completed my own 90-day transformation where I lost over 10 kg, and in that time I had an international work trip, a holiday, days out and events, and still managed to make really good progress during that time. The important thing is that you are able to adapt to the situation that you're in, make the best choices you can when it's difficult to stay on plan, and get straight back on track as soon as possible, instead of letting a bad few days escalate into something more. Moving away from an all or nothing mindset made such a massive difference for me when I first decided I wanted to get in shape, because the reality is most of us have busy jobs, we've got a social life, families and other things to think about, and the periods of time where it's actually possible to go 100% in are pretty few and far between. Coming onto the method I just mentioned, I call this the 90% rule. If you ensure that you're on plan 90% of the time, smashing your workouts, hitting your steps goals, sticking to your diet plan, and just generally ticking the boxes, then if you do end up having 10% of your life where things aren't as perfect, and to be clear, I don't mean 10% of the time where you go completely crazy, but things are a little bit more relaxed to take into account events that might pop up, you will still see really good results and do far better than if you're constantly in an all in or all out mindset and taking one step forward followed by one step back. If you do want help figuring out your exact calories, macros, and the perfect training plan to transform your physique without giving up everything in life that you enjoy or feeling restricted, hit the link in the description, tell me more about your goals, and we'll see if you're a good fit for one-to-one coaching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button now, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.